You know, we've all seen that one commercial.
Oh, the one with the perfectly manicured park.
Yes, exactly. Where a family is like tossing a frisbee and there's this majestic golden-furred creature bounding through the grass in glorious slow motion.
Right. The sun catches its coat just right.
Everyone is smiling. It just looks um, so completely effortless. Like you just add this dog to your life and instantly everything is joyful and picture perfect.
It is the quintessential dream. I mean, it's
Hmm.
perfectly packaged with a wagging tail. It really sells a very specific, almost frictionless feeling of companionship.
Right. But today, we are completely ripping up that script. We're jumping straight into the Dog Health Academy archives for this deep dive to look at the actual daily ecosystem of living with the Golden Retriever.
Which is incredibly necessary.
It is, because when you strip away that slow motion commercial, and look at the raw data of what it actually takes to manage one of the world's most popular sizable breeds, it is a pretty intense reality check.
Oh, absolutely.
We're talking about moving past that fluffy, idealized picture and looking at the rigorous daily mechanics of this dog's life.
And ecosystem is really the perfect framework for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you look at the veterinary and behavioral transcripts we're analyzing today, the core theme isn't just about providing basic animal care.
Right. It's not just a checklist of, like, kibble and water.
Exactly.
Right.
It is about designing a highly structured lifestyle, one that's built around a very specific rhythm, and more importantly, a deep, continuous social connection that basically dictates almost every decision you make.
Okay, let's unpack this, because to understand that lifestyle, we have to start with where that life actually happens, right? The physical home environment.
Yes, the geography of it all.
Yeah, and looking at the data, I want to tackle what I think is one of the biggest myths in dog ownership right out of the gate.
The space myth.
The space myth. The assumption that if you own a large dog, you are biologically required to have this sprawling house with a massive fenced-in backyard.
It's such a pervasive myth, and honestly, the behavioral data completely upends it.
Really?
Yes, the transcripts reveal that a golden retriever can live incredibly happily and, frankly, often healthier in an apartment setting.
Okay, wait, let me stop you right there, because that feels totally counterintuitive.
I know it does.
How is an 80-pound dog happier in a fifth-floor apartment than a suburban house with a half-acre yard?
What's fascinating here is the psychological distinction between spatial geography and owner commitment.
Okay, explain that.
Well, a dog habituates to their environment very quickly. They do not view a fenced-in backyard as an exercise facility.
Oh, interesting.
Right. To them, they view it as just a static extension of the house. The smells are exactly the same every day. The boundaries are the same. Left to their own devices in a yard, a golden retriever is mostly just going to sit by the back door waiting for you to come out.
Ah, I see.
Their physical and mental needs require dynamic, structured activity, not just passive space.
That makes total sense when you frame it like that. I was actually thinking about this, and it's basically like having a home gym.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Right. Like, just because you have a treadmill sitting in your basement doesn't automatically mean you have cardiovascular fitness. You still have to get on it.
Exactly.
Just putting a golden retriever in a fenced backyard isn't actual exercise. It's just, passive space.
Spot on. And when you live in an apartment, you don't have the luxury of that backyard crutch.
Oh, right. You can't just open the door and ignore them.
Exactly. You are forced to be intentional. You have to physically put on your shoes, clip on the leash, and take them out for purposeful movement several times a day.
Which changes everything.
It does. Neurologically and physically, an apartment-dwelling dog with a highly committed owner is often getting significantly more structured, enriching exercise than a dog with passive access to a large, static yard.
But surely the broader geographic environment plays some kind of role, right? Like
Yeah.
an urban sidewalk versus a rural hiking trail. Does the data favor one over the other for a dog this size?
It actually shows both settings work wonderfully, but they engage the dog's brain completely differently.
How so?
Well, urban environments are incredibly dense with stimuli. You have varied walks, new sights, the sounds of traffic.
And lots of other dogs, I'd imagine.
Exactly. The most important thing is that intense concentration of novel scents left by other dogs and people. Processing all that olfactory information requires massive cognitive energy.
Like reading the morning paper for them.
Yes. So a 30-minute urban sniff walk can actually be more mentally exhausting for a golden than an hour of just running in an empty field.
Wow.
Rural environments, conversely, might offer more space for kinesthetic release, off-leash running, swimming, but the geographic location itself never does the work for you.
So the variable for success is always just the owner.
Always. It's your consistent daily engagement with their needs.
Okay, but even if we accept that square footage isn't the ultimate deciding factor, you still have to physically adapt your home space.
Oh, undeniably.
Because this is a sizable, enthusiastic animal. We aren't talking about the footprint of a house cat here.
Definitely not. You are sharing an enclosed space with a large, dynamic creature, and the practical biomechanics of that really matter.
What does that look like in practice?
If you have outdoor access, secure fencing isn't just a suggestion, it's a structural requirement. Inside the home, you have to really look at environmental design.
Like what kind of supplies you buy?
Right. You need highly durable supplies. You need to carve out designated, uninterrupted spaces for them to rest.
So they have their own zone.
Exactly. And you also have to consider things like flooring. Large breeds need traction so they aren't constantly slipping and putting stress on their joints on hardwood floors.
Oh, hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah, you need a general spatial mindfulness so they can move comfortably indoors without, destroying your living room.
Which perfectly illustrates the next major hurdle in the sources. We've established it's not about the physical space they inhabit, but rather how you spend time with them in that space.
The time commitment.
Yes. That brings us to the massive time commitment. Because modern life is demanding. Most people listening to this deep dive are working standard 40-hour weeks.
Right.
How does an intense, connection-driven ecosystem survive the typical modern workday?
It is arguably the most significant point of friction for this specific breed.
The isolation.
Yes. Golden retrievers are profoundly socially bonded animals. The clinical data strongly emphasizes that long periods of isolation during a typical workday are highly challenging for them.
And that leads to problems, I assume.
It is the primary trigger for severe separation-related distress.
Now, I'm going to push back on this because I know exactly what someone listening is thinking right now.
Let's hear it.
They're thinking, look, dogs get bored. I get it. Can't I just buy one of those complex Tier 3 puzzle toys, freeze some peanut butter in it, hide a few treats around the apartment, and head to the office for 8 hours?
A lot of people try that.
Right. Like, won't that keep their brain occupied until I get back?
If we connect this to the bigger picture of their historical breeding and their psychological wiring, we see exactly why a puzzle toy isn't a substitute for a human.
Okay, take us back to the breeding.
We have to look at the mechanisms of their development. Golden retrievers were originally bred in 19th century Scotland as gun dogs.
Okay.
Their specific job was to work in the field, side by side with human handlers, retrieving waterfowl.
Meaning they weren't bred to go off and hunt independently, like, say, a terrier.
Precisely. They were bred to sit quietly next to a human for hours, hyper-focused, waiting for micro-commands and working in complete tandem.
Wow, so it's deeply ingrained.
That intense, focused partnership is literally written into their DNA. They are genetically wired to work alongside human companions.
So isolation isn't just boring for them in a superficial, I have nothing to do sense.
No. Prolonged isolation actively violates their natural psychological imperatives.
That is so wild to think about.
Right. A frozen puzzle toy might occupy their mouth for 45 minutes, sure, but it does absolutely nothing to satiate the genetic craving for social presence for the other 7 hours of the workday.
So what is the actual mechanical solution here? Because people do have to go to work to pay for the premium dog food.
Of course. It requires deploying tangible logistical strategies to break up the isolation.
Like what?
Midday dog walkers are a fantastic tool, and not just for the physical release, but to reset the dog's internal clock and provide a real burst of social interaction.
Oh, that makes sense. What about daycare?
Structured doggy daycare can offer both supervision and vital peer-to-peer socialization, though the data notes it needs to be the right fit for the individual dog. Not all dogs thrive in a daycare environment.
Right. And for the times, they absolutely must be alone. Like, there are going to be those days.
Owners have to put in the clinical work of desensitization. You have to gradually build the dog's tolerance for alone time. microdosing their isolation, rather than just disappearing for 8 hours on a Monday and hoping their genetics will magically adapt.
And the behavioral transcripts specifically note that staving off this distress requires a two-pronged approach.
Yes, physical and mental.
Right. Physical exercise matched equally with mental stimulation. You can't just put them on a treadmill for an hour, exhaust their muscles, and expect a perfectly adjusted dog.
Not at all.
It's daily obedience training, it's using olfactory games where they have to track scents, and it's just dedicated, focused quality time.
Right, because an underengaged golden retriever is a restless golden retriever.
And a restless 80-pound dog.
Oh, a restless 80-pound dog left alone can quickly become an architect of profound household destruction.
Yikes.
If you don't give them a job, they will find a job to do. And usually that job involves redesigning your sofa cushions.
Well, that intense need for partnership doesn't just apply to you, the owner, either. It bleeds into every other relationship in the house.
It's a whole ecosystem.
Exactly. We need to look at how they integrate into the broader household ecosystem, specifically kids, other pets, and first-time owners.
Let's do it.
Let's start with kids, because their reputation as the ultimate gentle family dog absolutely precedes them.
They are famously known for their patience, yes. But this is where looking at the behavioral mechanics is vital. Why are they gentle?
Is it the retrieving thing again?
It goes right back to that retriever breeding. They were bred for a soft mouth, the ability to hold a downed bird without puncturing it or damaging the meat.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because a soft mouth does not automatically equal an innate understanding of how to behave around a toddler.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head. The transcripts are incredibly strict about this. A breed's genetic propensity for gentleness never, ever replaces the absolute necessity for active, vigilant supervision.
You can't just leave them alone in a room together.
No, you do not get a free pass on parenting just because the dog is a golden retriever. You have to actively teach children how to interact respectfully with the animal, how to read a dog's stress signals, and how to respect their physical boundaries just as rigorously as you train the dog.
Because a dog is still an animal with teeth, no matter how soft its mouth is supposed to be.
Exactly.
What about integrating them with other pets, like, say, cats?
Their highly sociable nature generally makes them highly adaptable to multi-pet households. They don't typically have the high prey drive you'd see in a sighthound, for example.
Right, they have a retrieve drive.
Right. But again, that success relies entirely on the owner managing the ecosystem.
It always comes back to the owner.
Always. You have to orchestrate proper, graduated introductions and ensure thorough socialization. You can't just toss a golden and a cat in a living room and assume the dog's friendly nature will sort out the interspecies communication.
And speaking of the owners managing everything, I want to highlight the paradox that data presents regarding first-time dog owners.
Oh, this is a big one.
Right. On one hand, golden retrievers are widely considered a wonderful choice for beginners because they are incredibly eager to please and highly receptive to training.
True.
But the text is explicit. They are not a low-effort breed.
It's a very crucial distinction between ease of learning and ease of ownership.
I was reading this, and it makes me think of learning a new language using one of those highly optimized apps, like Duolingo or something.
Okay, I see where you're going.
The app makes the steps incredibly clear, right? The interface is intuitive, the lessons are bite-sized, and it's designed to make learning as frictionless as possible.
Right.
The dog's eagerness to please is the app.
Oh, that's good.
But no matter how good the app is, it can't actually learn the language for you.
Nope.
You still have to log in every single day for months on end and do the 30 minutes of hard work. The dog is highly trainable, but you still have to put in the immense consistent time to actually train them.
That analogy perfectly captures the reality. Success with a golden retriever is entirely dictated by realistic commitment, not prior dog handling experience.
So it's about what you're willing to do.
Yes, an owner who has never held a leash in their life, but who is genuinely prepared to invest the daily unglamorous effort into structured exercise, consistent training, and boundary setting. They're going to succeed phenomenally.
Yeah, the reverse.
Conversely, someone who has owned 5 dogs in the past but expects this one to just autonomously raise itself into a good citizen because of its breed reputation, they are going to struggle massively.
Okay, so the social, mental, and behavioral demands are monumental. Let's pivot and look at the physical reality.
The fur.
The fur. Because we aren't just talking about a brain in a jar here. This is a living, breathing, heavily shedding creature in your physical space. So what did this all mean for the thermodynamics of your living room?
It means you are dealing with a dense, highly engineered double coat.
Yes, the famous golden coat.
Yeah.
But, like, how does that coat actually work mechanically? Why is it so intense?
Well, it's a two-part system designed for extreme utility. You have the outer guard hairs,
Guard hairs. Okay.
right, which are coarse and water resistant. They are literally designed to repel moisture when they dive into freezing lakes.
Wow.
And underneath that, you have a thick, woolly undercoat that traps air to regulate their core temperature.
So, practically speaking, what is the maintenance load for a system like that?
It requires physical brushing several times a week, at minimum, just to prevent matting and manage the everyday turnover of those airs.
Just baseline maintenance.
Just baseline.
Okay.
But a couple of times a year, they go through heavy seasonal shedding periods. It's often referred to as blowing their coat.
I've heard that phrase. It sounds terrifying.
It can be. During those physiological transitions, the volume of loose undercoat fur that drops into your home environment is frankly staggering.
Like tumbleweeds in the hallway.
Literally. That brushing routine has to escalate to daily, sometimes twice daily, just to keep your home livable.
Fur on your clothes, fur on your couch, fur baking into the carpets. It's a permanent feature of the ecosystem.
It really is.
But wait, if they have this incredibly thick double coat designed for freezing Scottish lakes, isn't it kind of cruel to keep one if you live in, say, Texas or Florida?
It's a very common concern.
How does that thermoregulation work in the heat? Should owners just shave them in the summer?
That is a critical question, and the veterinary data is absolute on this. You should never, ever shave a double-coated dog.
Wait, really? Why not? Wouldn't taking off the heavy coat cool them down?
It actually destroys their natural thermoregulation.
Oh.
Remember how I said the undercoat traps air?
Right, the woolly part.
Yeah. In the cold, it traps warm air against the skin. But in the summer, that same system traps cool air near the skin and protects them from direct UV rays.
Oh, wow. I had no idea it worked both ways.
It does. If you shave the guard hairs, you expose their skin to sunburn and completely disrupt their ability to naturally cool themselves.
That is fascinating.
It is. But it still means hot climates are challenging. If you live in a hot environment, you have to be extremely proactive.
Right.
You must strictly manipulate their schedule, exercising only in the early mornings or late evenings, and constantly monitoring their hydration and access to deep shade to prevent heat stroke.
Which just piles another massive layer of logistical planning onto the owner's plate.
It does.
And what happens when you need to break that carefully constructed daily routine? Like, let's talk about travel.
Because of their adaptable and bonded temperament, they generally travel very well, provided the owner prepares the environment.
So you can't just throw them in the back seat.
No. You need crash-tested vehicle restraints engineered for a large mass. You have to map out routes that allow for frequent kinesthetic and olfactory breaks, and you need to acclimate them to the movement of the vehicle gradually.
And if life takes you somewhere they can't go, say, a week-long work conference in another state.
This circles right back to the psychological wiring we discussed earlier. If you have to board them, the arrangement absolutely must center on active companionship.
No solitary confinement.
Exactly. You cannot drop a golden retriever into a traditional isolation kennel facility where they are locked in a run for 22 hours a day and expect them to emerge psychologically intact.
That sounds awful for them.
It is. The care arrangement, whether that's a specialized facility, a professional pet sitter, or family members, must actively mirror that highly social daily rhythm. They need pack play, they need human interaction, and they need their mental routines maintained.
Which really brings up a point about the sheer administrative load on the human.
Yes.
You're tracking their specific exercise requirements, their mental stimulation games, a highly complex grooming and thermoregulation schedule, their socialization boundaries.
Yeah.
It is a massive mental load to manage.
This raises an important question. How do you sustainably organize the logistics of a routine this rigorous over the lifespan of a dog, which is easily 10 to 12 years?
It's a lot to keep in your head.
The administrative side of modern dog ownership is incredibly dense.
And looking at the transcripts, they actually highlight a specific tool for this.
Yes, the app.
It's an organizational companion app called VitalPet, and it's designed to manage exactly this kind of dense ecosystem. Logging daily care routines, tracking specialized vet appointments, managing medication schedules like heartworm and tick prevention.
And keeping a digitized lifelong log of their medical records.
Exactly, which is an incredibly powerful mechanism when you are managing this level of daily demand.
Oh, absolutely. Knowing exactly when a specific joint supplement was administered, or having instantly accessible titer tests and vaccination records when you are vetting a new, highly social doggy daycare facility.
That sounds like a lifesaver.
It is. Although the veterinary transcripts provide a very hard caveat here.
Which is?
An app is strictly an administrative filing cabinet. It never, ever replaces the personalized, clinical diagnostics of a licensed veterinarian.
Absolutely. It's a logistical tool, not a doctor.
Right.
But having that tool seems essential when you are trying to balance the demands of your own complex life with the unyielding structured needs of this specific breed.
It's all about reducing the administrative friction so you can focus your energy on the actual relationship and the daily rhythm.
So bring this all together. We've looked at the biomechanics of their space, the intense genetic wiring for social connection, the household dynamics, and the literal thermodynamics of their fur.
We covered a lot of ground.
We did. And a golden retriever is undeniably a profoundly rewarding companion. But if there is one core takeaway from all of this data, it is the absolute non-negotiable necessity of honest self-assessment.
That is the crux of the entire conversation.
Right.
The data isn't arguing whether a golden retriever is objectively a good dog or a bad dog. They are remarkable, highly capable animals.
Incredible animals.
The real conversation is a mirror. It's about whether your specific current lifestyle is genuinely compatible with their genetic demands for daily structured exercise, intense grooming, and near constant social partnership.
And that is exactly what we want you listening right now to do. Take a hard, objective look at your own daily schedule.
Look at the reality of your living situation.
Yes, your actual capacity for social engagement after a long workday. And your willingness to brush a dog 3 times a week and walk them in the freezing rain because their genetics demand it.
You can't skip days.
You really can't. Evaluate your own reality before taking the plunge, because the cute puppy stage lasts a few months, but the daily rhythm lasts a decade.
You know, examining all these rigid requirements, the mandatory daily outdoor movement, the necessary mental stimulation, the constant need for connection to stave off boredom, it leaves me with a really fascinating thought to walk away with.
Oh,
We talk about all of this as the cost or the burden of owning the dog. We frame it as what we have to do for them. But if you actually adhere to this routine, could bringing a golden retriever into your life actually be the ultimate life hack for the human?
I see where you're going with this.
Think about it. We live in an increasingly sedentary, isolated, screen-dominated world.
We really do.
Could the sheer, undeniable demands of this specific dog be exactly the mechanism that forces an isolated human into a much healthier, highly active, and socially engaged routine themselves?
Wow.
It forces you out into the sunlight every morning. It forces you to walk for cardiovascular health. It forces you to interact with neighbors and other dog owners.
I love that. You think you're designing this rigorous ecosystem to rescue the dog from boredom, but the dog's genetics are actually rescuing you from the couch.
Exactly.
It forces you out into the physical world. You know, you start with that slow-motion, frictionless commercial dream.
Yeah.
But the reality, the muddy paws at 6 a.m., the walks in the rain, the brushing, the constant presence, that messy, demanding reality might actually be the very thing that transforms your own life for the better.
It creates a completely different, much more profound kind of picture perfect.
Beautifully said. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. Keep questioning, keep learning, and we'll catch you on the next one.